Peace family, it's your boy Fonzie Neutron representing for Bout.online.com. And this week we're joined with another exclusive guest. This time an artist spotlight with Merciless Nell. So this is somebody that we're definitely connected with, been checking out his music and his work. So it's gonna be good to get more insight and information and focus on this new single that's upcoming. So we've been fortunate to get you at a good time with the single drop.
Yes, sir.
What's good with you though, man? How's things out that side?
Man, they is lovely, man. You know, all praises be to God, man. You know, for everything that's going on. You know,
Right,
got a lot of stuff happening on this side, man. And we're gonna get through it, you know, through the this interview, man. Let y'all know everything that's going on.
No doubt. So we usually like to go back to the beginning, you know, and I know sometimes it can be a bit tedious because artists have you know, they tell their story a lot of times and stuff, but we want to go back to the beginning and kind of break down where it is that you hail from. You know, is it out of Philadelphia? You know, what was your coming up experience like? So where is it that you hail from, and what was your experiences like growing up there?
Oh man, I had it rough, man. I had it real rough. You know, my mother was my mother, my father was my father. Them two, you know, used to bang and crash heads. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but they kept it together for the most part. You know, my mother is crazy because, you know, I like to call myself a war baby. You know, but on a street terminology, a war. You know, my mother was in the streets. My father was in the streets too as well. My mother did time. She did 5 years when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I ended up doing time in the federal penitentiary too as well. You know, so we had a rough, man. It was 15 of us. My mother had 15 kids. And she just recently passed away last year, 4 days after her birthday. You know what I mean? So it was pretty rough, man. But for the most part, like, that's why I get all my experiences from. You know, I love it. I wouldn't change it for nobody in the world, nothing in the world, because it made me who I am today. You know, so yeah, definitely in them streets, doing all types of craziness that I won't convict myself on to say here, but just know I'm from that dirt, man. I'm from the curve, you know,
Yeah.
and
Well,
happy to be off the curve, you know.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, I definitely want to extend my condolences, obviously, for your mother and stuff, to your family as well.
Thank you,
And but you
thank
know,
you.
in terms of growing up, as you said, even then, just giving us a slight backdrop then of the streets. What was the musical climate like, and your involvement with music? Obviously, we know you would further get into being an artist and a producer, amongst other things, which we'll get into. But you growing up then in that sort of environment and time and climate, what music was you listening to? What was kind of keeping you going, influencing you? And did you know then you wanted to embark upon music later in the future?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's you know, fortunately, I have an uncle who created the sound of music for Philadelphia, which was Johnny and Tommy Bell. They're my uncles, you know what I mean? So, you know, I grew up around them hits. You know what I mean? Like I seen plaques on the walls and stuff. I used to knock them off the walls when I was a kid, thinking they were just like regular pictures and stuff. They gold records and stuff like that. You know, he done wrote for everybody. Like I sat on his lap while he playing the piano, making a song, and I'm sitting there, bah! You know what I mean? As a kid, 5 and 6 years old. You know what I mean? So you know, I come from that. Then his children, which is Benjamin Bellman, you know what I mean? Very close cousin of mine. We still do music together and everything. Then, you know, also I have another cousin, you know what I mean, who's Tony Littles. You know what I mean? That's my cousin. He did a lot of stuff for Biggie Smalls albums, you know, with the Hitmen and all them, Stevie J and all them. You know what I mean? Also, he's worked on my album too, and I worked on stuff with him too as well. He go by the name, his performance name is Demo Wet. You know what I mean? So you remember the guy King Son from
Yeah.
back in the yeah, from back in the day? Yeah, that was Demo Wet and King Son, you know what I mean? So, you know, I come from music. It's just that, you know, they always said I talk real slick. So that, you know, a friend of mine, very, very close friend of mine, turned me on to how to put rhymes together. I used to always write poetry though. But growing up, Coogee rap, I knew every rap song that came on the radio. Even the stuff on the back of people albums. Still to this day I learn it with these. Like very musically inclined. You know what I mean? So, you know, Coogee rap, Big Daddy Kane, Juice Crew, you know, KRS One, You name them, I know them. When I say I know them, I know them. I love
Yeah,
hip hop.
yes.
I love music. I love the music business. Period.
Okay. And that's even cool. Even just saying that you had those family roots and connections and stuff there. So inevitably, it was something that you was around from young. I was going to ask, when did you, really start making music? But I guess in that kind of environment where you've always sort of been around it, it's sort of just been an ongoing thing. We know you would later emerge on doing things in the early 90s and stuff. But how did you select your artist name? How did that come about? And was that your first choice of artist name?
What as far as what the
Your name, your artist name.
yeah, merciless. No, I was given that from the streets. That wasn't even
Okay,
no. That wasn't even nothing that was supposed to have been for an artist.
music.
You know what I'm saying? It's somebody gave me that due to how my behavior was. So you know the name merciless and what it means. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
we
my
got we got
yeah.
we got a big Jamaican dancehall artist who passed, man. He passed away. Rest in peace, merciless, man, from Maypen, Clarendon, that man. But yeah. So I don't really hear
Rest in
much
peace,
anybody else
man.
with the name, but yeah. But go ahead, my brother.
Yeah. No, no, no. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So that's how I got the name. I got the name throughout the streets, you know what I mean, calling me merciless, you know what I mean? Some of my peers called me Nell that I grew up with. So them two names is just like, very, very, very close to my heart, very dear to my heart, you know what I mean? Because I know why they both exist. My mother named me Darnel, and the streets like, broke that down to Nell, you know. So, you hear people say, I don't want you down the street with that Darnell, and I heard that shit all my life. I heard that shit all my
Typical.
life. Darnell, and you know what I mean. So special guy start calling me merciless. Name, his name is Track Money, and he had TMR Records. He's like, man, I'm giving you merciless, man. And everybody else just started calling me that. And I started representing it. I accepted. That's how that came about, though. They gave me that name. I didn't pick that.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. And sometimes that's it with our
Yeah,
names
yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that. So, we've got it. You looked at your name, and obviously we've discussed you just being, musically astute from young, and just having that
Yeah, man.
experience. But how would you
Yeah.
describe the sound around your music? The background, the inspirations behind it.
That's funny you asked me that, man. That's a good question because I don't pick a in particular type of sound. I know how to pick out a hit record. I know how to pick out a hit record. And I always did what the record said do. And I think that just come from me being who I am and how I was developed throughout my life. So it's just like, I'm gonna go with the flow. I just love making good music. And there's so much that happened in my life, as you probably could tell now, just through the interview and different things I can't go into, to where as though, it's not many topics that I can't withstand and talk about and really go through it, not skip around it. A lot of people skip around. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit. No, I'm talking about full stories, the script intel. So that's from my street side, my everyday living as Nell or merciless Nell. That's from that side. So I don't have it in particular. I try to make anything. I got stuff that I want to do that's on the country side of things. You know what I mean? So
Okay. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't I
Um,
don't I don't follow a trend. I don't get into the trends and stuff. I just like to make music that I know people can relate to, you know,
well,
and
we
be as
definitely do.
creative as possible.
Yeah, we definitely can dig that. One of our mottos and slogans is "No squares allowed." For that purpose, exactly, we don't really like to
Ah, I
be
like that.
confined into any category or box as such. Now, even that, just what you're saying, we know that you've got a lot of different avenues that you've worked in within the business, and looking at here some of the work that you did for in the early point that was distributed through Universal Music Group. You
Yep,
know,
yep,
it says you was created commercial ads for companies like J&S Security, Easy
yep,
A's One
yep,
Two Three Real Estate. So
yep.
I'm kind of driving that. You've got not just the artist experience and that handler side of things, but also being like a producer and working on film and actually distribution and other aspects of the music business. So, I mean, do you find that hard doing that as artists, or did you find when you did that you had to stop with the artist side of things and then get back into doing the artist side afterwards?
Well, actually, one led to another, and I'll tell you, it's a crazy story. I always knew. See, when I came home from the federal penitentiary back in 2003, right? I always knew, even upon me going to jail, I always knew you couldn't have one without the other. And what I mean by that is you couldn't have a song and don't have a highlight to show the people how to get into that music you created, that body of work. You know what I mean? So I was paying people to come shoot my videos, and when they got to the neighborhood, it's 500 people outside. And they like, I never even heard of you. So they didn't even stop. They kept it going. They like took my money and kept moving. Then I had to go get my money back from them somewhere else in the county because they was afraid that, you know, something was going to happen to them. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know who I was as far as being an artist and stuff like that. You know, that led me to say, you know what? I'm going to shoot my own shit. I'm going to buy the cameras. I'm going to shoot my own shit. And that's what led me into film, portrait, photography and stuff like that. So, you know, that's how I got into the video side of things. You know, I just kept on going. So I already had the talent with the music and stuff. That's my first love. So that's easy to always come out of and go back into. Because I never did it for nothing else, especially not no money and none of that. I was one who was already, you know, okay in the streets from, you know, eating that way. So I never took it that serious until I came home and I said, you know what, I'm going to go get this shit. You know what I mean? And that's what I've been doing. So, you know, that's where one developed the other one. All because, you know, people was playing with me. They ain't, you know, they was scary and all that, thinking something that was going to happen. And I think back now and I said, damn, I would have been scared of a guy like myself too, not knowing who they are. And, you know, we don't want your stuff to get taken. Not that that was going to happen. It's just still in all, like they on that side of the curve. They see all that going on. So, you know, and me not having a name, you know what I mean, for music. So it's like, how the hell he get 500 people out here? So, you know, it looked crazy. Cops and everything was pulling up. So, you know, that happened like 2 times on different occasions. So I was just like, you know, I'm not going to go through that no more. Keep bringing people out and it's a dud. Nothing's happening. So, you know, I stepped away from the music, period, took up film, started getting into that. Took me 10 years to get where I'm at now with the films and stuff like that. Just recently put my first film out in theaters, myself and a partner of mine. And yeah, we here, man.
So you want to speak briefly about the film that you released before we get back onto the music, you know, as you mentioned it?
Yeah, I would like to. Yes. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, that film is called Pink Money. You know what I mean? Pink Money. And like I said, you know, it's my first film. I did all the editing here. I did all the filming myself, the cinematography and everything. I did all that myself. And by the grace of God. And it turned out very well. You know, then I had put it in theaters. Me and a friend of mine's and Mo, we got together, put it in theaters up north, back home in Baltimore. Went pretty well, sold out the theater. Now I have my own television show now with the camp. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things that's going on when it comes down to on the film side too as well. So, you know, we just got our station and everything. So we're doing a lot of cross branding and stuff with that. And yeah, so, you know, it's going to Tubi real soon. We're looking for it to go to Tubi real soon. It's already lined up for pay-per-view TV, you know, so. And this is something that we all just collectively getting together and we're just doing it. You know what I mean? Like we're not looking for, of course we would accept anybody who will help, but you know, sometimes you got to do it yourself first in order for people to see how serious you are about your own craft, and then they'll join hands. So we welcome to whoever that's going to help, man. You know, jargon this thing forward instead of bringing it and pushing it backwards. So whatever that we can do to help, we here. As well as looking for help. We here for it. So that's my first feature film. You know, of course I had the experiences to be able to do commercials and stuff like that, like he was mentioning, the JNS security and the real estate stuff and all that different types of stuff. I did that because we have also a real estate company, whereas though I do development. So it's a lot of parts to know. It's a lot of different parts to me.
Right. Well, I definitely want to say, you know, congratulations on putting the motion picture together and stuff, because we know that is definitely not an easy task, and it takes a lot of hard work and commitment, you know, and stuff. And you know, it's a learning process and stuff too, you know. Especially I always look at it and I think once you do one film, you then obviously got to learn so much more and be able to do so much more after that, you know.
Yeah, man.
A lot of times
Yeah.
people look at what people do one film and say, "Oh, it could have been better, or you could have did this, or you." But it's
And, and
actually.
that's one of the craziest parts about it. When it went to the theaters, even the theater owner, he had came down and he wanted to congratulate me. He was like, "You did this?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "No way. If I had to look at you," this is what he said to me. "If I was to look at you and had to put you somewhere, it definitely wouldn't be in the films. Not shooting, editing." He said, "I have never," he said this out of his own mouth. And he's been in film for 33 years. He owns a lot of cinema theaters. He said, "I have never seen a film come across that screen from no one, not even blockbusters, Hollywood, or nowhere, that looks that good." He said, "Whatever you doing to make that show up like that," he said, "I'm going to talk about you." And he promised me that. He's going to talk about me and let them know that I'm coming. And here it is. You the first person I get a chance to do an interview with. So
Well, I appreciate
I,
that, man.
I,
And
I appreciate you, man. So,
I want to check the movie out too. I'm somewhat of a film buff myself, so I'm definitely
okay,
going to check it out. Unfortunately,
cool.
sometimes we can't access Tubi out here in London, but there's definitely some workarounds and stuff like that. But just
No, but
looking
I
at
got I got my own station. It's on my own station right now. That's internationally and nationally. I'm beyond
okay,
Tubi. Tubi is just something I'm gonna go to just because.
I got you.
I'll send you the link and you can get it out to whoever. We'll talk. We'll do
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah,
business. Don't worry.
yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. So, I mean, even with just looking at that, and things just being easier nowadays, but we're looking at just film. It can be done at a different scale as opposed to years ago where it was harder to do. So, I want to take that to, I
Yeah,
guess, segue into the music industry, where at the same time we've seen so many developments within the music industry, just from technology to newer artists and people being able
yeah,
to
that's true.
send faster with social media and things like that. So, what are your thoughts on the music industry, the modern music industry, and the music business today in 2022?
Well, oh man, I love it because it's so much easier now. You know what I mean? Before you had to really be a live person in real life. Today you have the internet with the www. It brings people like you and I together, like we doing right now. I'm all for it, man, and pushing the genre forward. Like it's beautiful. You don't have to do too much. Before we spent a lot of money in promotion just to get it to across the street.
Yeah,
So today you
yeah,
make it. The stuff is more compact. Like I'm used to track boards, like you know what I mean, consoles. So,
yeah.
today it's like I got the digi design right here with unlimited virtual tracks, the computer, you know what I mean? I'm like, so it's all good, man. It's all good. You know what I mean? I like what's going on. You know what I mean? The people
Yeah,
get a chance to really, we get a chance to hear some dope stuff that we might not never even heard. If we had to leave it to the A&Rs and stuff and they friends and stuff, they always try to connect. So today you don't need to know nobody. For real, with the online, you don't need to know no DJs, no this, no that. It's good to know them, but you really don't need
yeah,
to because people can get right at you right then and there and hear your stuff. So it's all good, man. I'm all for it.
yeah. I think that's a good lead into your single that you've got. That by the time this interview is released, it will be available or on its way out. And we're literally recording this now on the 15th, and this is scheduled to be released on the 16th. And this is the
Right.
song called Feelings, which is your newest single, your newest works that you've released as a single in quite a while. So as a comeback single, why did what stood out in this one to you? I'm sure you had a bunch of other songs and stuff as well. Did you want to go with the message behind this for a particular reason? And how did the song come together?
Well, basically, like I said, I'm one who actually look at the business, and how the everyday livelihood of the people and where we at as humans as well as the animals and stuff. The winter, the fall, everybody falls in love. It's coming from the summer, you know what I mean? And who can't tell you something about how they felt about someone, you know? Rich, poor, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You had a crush on someone before. You had that strong of a liking on someone for someone before. So, I chose to do that because I know today's time. of the year, as far as the seasons is concerned here in the States, that this is mating season. This is mating season. People come together. It's fresh, it's new. Some are still in relationships from, a nice, pretty, lengthy time. But it's always, that this is that cuddling weather, that cuddling season. Even the animals are cuddling. It's mating season. So that's why I chose that record. Outside of that, the experience in the record is definitely a real experience that I have experienced recently. So, and it's a trilogy. It's not just this one record. This one record is just the leading that I meet this girl on. I met this person on, and how I met her, and then it's a little bit of, something that we went through and started expressing our feelings towards one another. So this is that part. The second part is karma. You already know what that's about just by the title. You know what I mean? It's karma. Like, we done been through some shit together. And then it's to see if we still gonna be together. You don't know. So then the third one comes about, which is called Toxic Lovers. And I ain't gonna say nothing about that. I ain't gonna say nothing about that because you need to watch them. You need to watch them. You know what I mean? So
that's what I was gonna say. It sounds even just as you're explaining it, it sounds quite visual. You can kind of get not an idea for the aesthetics, but you would want to see a visual to something like that come together that you can watch a trilogy of it, especially with your film background and stuff.
Right, and yeah, that's coming up. That's coming up in the next 2 weeks. We already done got the treatment is together already. I just got finished working on a shot list. I already picked who I want to do the actual all three parts. Because I don't want to break it up because it's a trilogy. It's going to be like Trapped in the Closet ×10. But on the rapping side, it's real smooth, laid back, very, very easy to listen to. You heard the record; it's very easy to listen to. It's not, you can follow it just by the way the story is put together. I love telling stories; they stick to you more versus, I do the other records too, where it's just a bunch of metaphors and stuff like that. But for the most part, like, I love telling stories, visually as well as audio. So.
Yeah. You mentioned Trapped in the Closet, and I did have that sort of reflection on that as you were explaining it, because that's a good example metaphorically and stuff as well. Recently, they actually released a bootleg R. Kelly album and stuff like that, but it was to his chagrin because he didn't ask him to release it. But I'm gonna use that as a segue, I guess, for just getting back into some music conversation and stuff, and ask, what music are you bumping at the minute?
Actually, man, to be honest, I've been listening to a lot of slow old music because I love music so much. If I listen to somebody's stuff, I start chasing that. You know what I mean? And I don't want it to come across my creativity. You know what I mean? I want to be able to get somebody something fresh, be a breath of fresh air to the people. You know what I mean? But at the same time, not be too far away. You don't want to stand too far off either, because sometimes that's not good either. So, I'm not really listening to artists today as far as when it comes to hip hop. I do get a chance when I'm in a car. I hear Baby, Lil Baby, and Drake and stuff like that. Love their music. Who else? I was just listening to Fabio. I was listening to some of his. Yeah, I was listening to some of his stuff. But maybe
I was gonna say I'm more for it, like you were saying, for just the overall music, because a lot of artists are actually eclectic in what they listen to and stuff. So I don't want to typecast you as like, because you're a rapper that what rappers are you listening to? I want to, if it's Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, if it's Johnny Cash,
right.
We're here for all of it, man. So
everything exactly.
Yeah, I bet you got everything in the mix.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of R&B, a lot of love songs. You know what I mean? A lot of oldies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Even Sam Hunt. Like, I listen to a lot of country. You know what I mean? So that's one of my top favorite artists right now as far as country artists, Sam Hunt. So I always got something on that's real calm and easy to listen to while I'm floating, and don't get caught up in what's going on.
When you said he's one of your top artists, that's cool, because I was gonna ask you actually. We usually ask who's in some of your top artists of all time. Now this isn't genre related or anything. It's just artists that have made an impact on yourself, and you probably think wider.
Definitely. Oh man, yeah. KRS One, you know what I'm saying? From my upbringings. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna give you my category, my time, because I've been listening to music for a long time. You know what I mean? So to get to my top five, I would definitely have to go back to what I was raised on. You know what I mean? And I love KRS One for his knowledge, his aggressiveness, and a different way poetically. You know what I mean? Then I had Coogee Rap. You know what I mean? That I would listen to when I'm out there on the block. You know, he gave me that sense, to be able to look at things from that perspective. So I say them two from that era. Moving forward after that, it becomes, Nas, you know what I mean, Raekwon, you know what I mean? Him and Ghostface, I put them two together if you allow me to.
Yeah,
So that they'd be combined as one. Ghost and Ray would be combined as one. Nas, you know what I'm saying? And then of course, so that's three right there. One, two, three. Coogee rapping Chris, that's one. Nas, Raekwon the Chef, and Ghostface, that's one. That's two. Then I got my Nas. I'm gonna leave Nas by himself because he did that what all of them did for me. You know what I mean? And then I'll take it back to NWA on the West Coast. That whole group as one. So that's four. And then of course I gotta go with my main man. You know what I mean? I love Pop. I love Big. And I put them two together as one. Today, if you give me my sixth one, that'll definitely be Jay-Z.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. Can't really
That's
argue
my
with you.
that's my man coming off. That's my man coming off the bench to wrap it all up. You know what I mean? To put it all in a nutshell. Like that's me. That's who I'm loving. That's who affected my life, who impacted my life musically as well as business wise. You know what I mean? And they street sense and stuff and where they come from. So yeah, that's me. That's what you would get. So yeah.
No, that's what's up. I like the way that you broke that down and articulated that and stuff as well. You know what I mean? And I could definitely appreciate that sentiment and stuff. Now,
Thank you.
is there anything else that you got upcoming in the near future that you want to plug or you want to let people know about?
Yeah,
I know you
actually,
yeah,
go ahead.
sorry, go
What you
ahead.
were saying? No. Finish what you were saying because I want to
Yeah,
answer it completely.
yeah, I was just gonna say I know that you did mention that there was gonna be this the single feelings was actually part of the trilogy, but is there anything you want to give people a bit of a sneak peek, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Them three, I would like to just stay focused on them three records right there. Outside of the records, of course, we have two movies. You know what I'm saying? That we trying to get everything together on. One is the Fatal Hussein thing. You know what I mean? With Tupac's best friend, and also the head member of the Outlaw. You know what I mean? Which is a brother of mine. You know what I mean? Of another brother of mine, such as his brother Mo. You know what I mean? We have the Yachty project that we trying to get up and running completely. You know what I mean? And also, I have two movies. I have two movies that I'm currently working on right now. One is called The Out of Town Hitter, and it's crazy. You hear the name of it, Out of Town Hitter. So that's what he do. He's going to be, taking calls and stuff and doing hits and stuff. You know what I mean? But never in his community, never in his state or nothing. He's always away jumping on a plane or a bus. You know what I mean? The craziest thing about it, he suffered from PTSD. He's a war baby, and that's why he became that. But he's also a heroin addict. So that's what he do to keep his mental thought, in the right track and him not bug all the way out. He uses the heroin to be able to, to cope with everyday's life because he's seen some things when he was in war. So he constantly having withdrawals and flashbacks at the same time. So that's going to be a great one. And then I also have a movie that's based around my son's life, which is who suffered from cerebral palsy. You know what I mean? As an infant, very young, and a little bit of mental, retardation or whatever the case may be. Who's also is an artist, a left-handed artist who was self-taught. His name is Demetrius, and so I'm doing his story too, which is the life of Jordan. You know what I mean? He was bullied and everything in school and stuff like that. So yeah, man, just trying to do things that really matter to us all. You know what I mean? So them are the three projects that we have going on right now, outside of the tour that we're trying to put together, for the summer to come. That's what to be expected from me.
Okay, no, we appreciate that, and you know, definitely commendation on those getting those projects together. They sound interesting, even the films. Those little synopsises that you just gave off, definitely I could see being played off on screen quite well and stuff. You know what I mean? So kudos for that, because a lot of people have to say we need another resurgence of independent, black film to be able to tell stories that affect us and people as well, that we can identify with. That's not necessarily always coming from the higher ups in Hollywood and
Yeah,
certain brands that
exactly,
don't have
exactly,
an experience of some of these stories.
exactly. Yeah,
So yeah, guys, we're definitely gonna say encourage everybody to check out the Feelings single, which will be available. And is this the new album that's gonna be coming? Time for Change?
yeah, because that's what the time for it. You just said it yourself too. You know what I mean? It's time for a change. You know, a breath of fresh air all the way across the board. So that's why I said like I'm speaking things into existence of what I think everybody else feel the same way about. So yes, time for a change. It definitely is, and so many different ways. So many different ways.
No doubt. Well, we definitely appreciate you and spending this time with us, giving us a bit of an update and doing this out in spotlight. We definitely want to shout out to Big Mo, Yada Yaz, the rest of the team and stuff as well.
Salute.
Where can everybody find you on social media? I know we got the Instagram going, but I don't know if you got any other social media or anything that you might want to plug.
Yeah, definitely. My Instagram is already plugged, but I'll plug it again. It's m.nell, the number one, which is merciless Nell. You could just Google me and everything. Like everything is merciless Nell. You know what I mean? Everything. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, the whole nine.
There we have it. So definitely merciless now. Hopefully everything goes great with the single release. And as listening to this, it will be out and stuff like that. So maybe we'll be back next time with a review video on the single.
Would love to. Would love to. And you got that. You bring me back, you got that. I'll save that strictly for you. We'll
All right,
close
so
we'll close it out with you.
okay, we appreciate that, man. So definitely, family, we appreciate you guys listening and tapping in. This is Fonzie Neutron representing for BoutOnline.com. Peace.
Peace.